All right, welcome everybody to the October meeting. I get to play host this time with Rich taking care of a couple other things at home. So welcome. Today we're going to listen to Ralph for a little bit. He actually has a couple of cool little projects that he's working on with uh observability using some free solutions. Of course, Cribl's in there with our nice free tier that we give. And then afterwards, I'll wrap up with some updates from the community, and then we'll be able to do a little Q&A section if we still have some time. And with that, Ralph, I'm going to go ahead and promote you. Forgot to do that. Hold on just a sec. Make sure so you can share here.
Yep. So hello, welcome everybody. I have a small slide set as a to have a history and a journal, let's say, and but most of the time I will be demoing things, I guess. So now I have to find out how to share here. Yeah. Well, first my screen is pretty big. People tell me so. If it helps, I can make this smaller or move it somewhere else.
It's
But if you can,
on my screen.
okay, so
Yep, looks good.
So I will be switching between the browser and his presentation. So yeah, I think it started because someone asked in the Slack community how to send Slack notifications, and I have one blog post about Cribl that's about sending Slack notifications. So I posted that, and then Rich grabbed me and said, "Hey, can you talk about that in a user group meeting?" So it would be a pretty small talk if only about that, because it's if you know about Cribl and webhooks, it's pretty straightforward. So I collected some things I did with Cribl in my private cloud tier, and that are most of the time based around my small, what we call in Germany, Balkonkraftwerk, so balcony power plant, which is a word for small, usually 2 modules photovoltaic setup, where we have a special law or regulations where you can use it up to a specified maximum watt output without paying taxes or the need to start a company to sell the energy that you've fed back to the grid. So yeah, I started to collect data with that and did dashboards, etc. So that's the story, let's say, for the things I will share. Yeah, one slide about me. I'm in my early 40s, big data engineer since 7 or dealing with Splunk, etc. since 7 or 8 years, and yeah, 2 kids, 1 wife, and like I said just before the meeting, in private I like to collect and play vinyl records, go biking with my e-bike, and camping with this bus up here with my family. Yeah, so much about me. And today, like I said, we will talk about some things that help me in my private data pipeline most of the time around smart home, and especially with power energy monitoring. Yeah, this is actually a picture of part of my, oh, this screen is a little bit too in a row. Part of my power plant, because I'm a little bit in the illegal zone, because usually you can have, I think I have it down here, 600 watt maximum output of the inverter. So these models are plugged into one box that behind this one, and the output of these boxes may maximum be 600 watt at the moment with the laws in Germany, without the need to have not too much bureaucracy, let's say. And I have another plate in front of this row of houses where I collect the sun in the morning, let's say, and it's a little bit overhead, so don't tell everybody. Yeah, this is a ChatGPT summary of what an Balkonkraftwerk is. I think I explained it. So it's a small photovoltaic system with some where we have regulations, at least in Germany and Austria. I don't know about the rest of Europe or world, but yeah. And because energy is pretty expensive since, or raised at least in the last years, and the hardware for these things is in the other direction. It went down, at least in our part, because China produced too much, and then now they need to have their storages empty or something like that. Yeah, and so this is a pretty hip thing at the moment in Germany. An easy way to start help environment and your own money pocket. Yeah, I forgot something important. Yeah, the setup is easy. Usually you have just to put in a plug in your wall socket, 220 volt, or in your case, 120. And this box that I talked about converts the DC power created by the photovoltaic modules into AC that you can use in your house. And if you don't use it in that moment when it's produced, it will be put to the public grid. Yeah, that's a little my part of the architecture, let's say, or how it wasn't planned like that. It happened over the years or months. And the main thing is this power or photovoltaic system we talked about. It's just connected to a Shelly plug, which can send metrics about how which power is being used or produced to a home assistant, which is my main smart home central. Yeah, also I have Philips Hue lights, which send status on, off, and how much brightness, etc., to home assistant. Then some of my bigger home stuff like washing machine, dishing machine, etc., also connected with these Shelly plugs. And this is one special thing that I will show in detail in a later slide. This is my energy meter at home, and this is an infrared reader, where you can see in every second how much power you are put in the grid or take from the grid, and all the three phases that we have in our power system, home systems. But you would see more details about that later. Yeah, then everything is collected in Home Assistant, which the advantage is it's an easy setup for all these things, all this on the market available stuff. You have integrations, and also it's a first normalizing area, let's say, because even doesn't matter if it's a light level or a washing machine power wets or something. It's all in the same JSON format, and the state is always the thing, either the watts or lux or brightness, and then you have another field with unit of the value. So it's easy to work with that in that next step. Also in Cribl Stream, this is my free tier where everything is going in and then reduced, because there's a lot of data coming in. Every change in my total power usage in the house is being sent to Cribl or to Home Assistant, and that's too much for the destinations here. So there's a lot of aggregation going on and throwing away stuff that I don't use or analyze. Yeah, so all the data go to, and others, but to Humio, which is now CrowdStrike Falcon, and Slack, and Google Sheets, and Grafana, that I will show. All these I will show later. This is a special setup because I wanted the data also to be available in Splunk, and but I don't have Splunk in the cloud or 24/7 running anywhere, just here on my local laptop. So there's Edge running, collecting Home Assistant logs and sending it to Splunk when the laptop is running. Yeah. Then just a little advertisement slide. And yeah, this is the main use case, let's say. So all these, I don't know if you saw it, there's a little Raspberry over here. So it's a Raspberry Pi where Home Assistant is running on. And all the state changes, so light on, light off, power consumption, etc. is sent to here. And in the comments here, I collected some links that I wanted to open while doing the presentation. So this is a integration from Home Assistant to send to Splunk. It's basically an HP event collector, wrapper that you can easily put in your Home Assistant with one click, basically. Yeah, this is feeding to Stream, and then it's basically just an egg input. See that? I don't think there's so much special going on. Okay. Yeah, so it's an egg input. Nothing really special going on here. And and then I have a pipeline. That's the main thing that happens then in Stream, which is reducing and aggregating things. Let's quickly have a look here. I think, let's see if there's an actual. Yeah, that's how they come in. I will make it open. This is one of the events that you typically get. No, that's not a good example. 1 second. So let's capture. As you see, there's much going on all the time. So this is directly from the wire. So your OF has a unit of measurement, which is watts in this time, and a value. Yeah. So that means that my washing machine, because it's not turned off, but I think it's done with its work, and now in standby, it uses the 2 watts. And many of those about lights and stuff that consumes power. So we take this sample. And most of them, will be strong through because maybe I go about across the most important thing. So this is just a parser to have the fields available in the JSON that is coming. Then some, hardwired fields. This is later going to Humio and Splunk, but most of these notations work for us, also for Humio. Usually it's called repro in Humio or CrowdStrike, but it translates to when you send it to index as index, and also source type is usually at source type, I think. But it's either done by the Cribl destination, I'm not sure, or by Humio itself. Another parser. That's for an different level in the first one. That's so important. So then I drop a lot of things because I don't need all my single lights to Splunk, go to Splunk, because I do nothing with it, or to Humio. So to save some of the free license, many stuff is got just been thrown away. And that's the second level of reduction. Is does also a lot, because I aggregate the power watts in 10-second buckets, because that's the most detailed level I use in the dashboards. So I don't need it every second. And if you don't use it, you even have multiple events per second per entity. So that was too much. And in one of the destinations, Humio, you have 16 gigabyte per day free volume. So that helps to stay in that limit here. Yeah, and it's another thing that is basically it had an array of all lights that are turned on. So if I turn my lights in my background here off, on, it would be the name of this light was part of a big array, and I don't need that information, so I just put it to the length, so the number of lights that are on. It was enough for one of the dashboards where I wanted that information. Yeah, then serializing to key value pairs, and what's that? Yeah, and keep and remove some of the fields. Yeah, and this is one of the results of the power aggregation. So you just have, it looks as before, at least you have the fields that we need, but this is basically a 10-second average of this. Yeah, this is my total power sensor, but that's good enough for my use cases. Yeah. So that's a pipeline. So reducing a lot of things, aggregating, etc., and making, yeah, throwing fields away that I don't use, throwing entities away that I don't use. Yeah, and at the end, it's being sent to Humio. That's the main thing for me because it's free in the cloud, and I can use it on my mobile. And you can make those kiosk links so long with a long hash that you can just open and use it as, yeah, on a display, something that you have on the wall, and it, yeah, looks like this. Okay, right now our sun just dropped, so I don't produce anything right now, but this was yeah, from this afternoon. So I have actually 3 inverters going to the system. Yeah, so you have so you see how much you produce altogether and stacked by those modules, how much you took. This is what I took from the energy company, let's say. This is what I produced today. These are the maximum values, and here you would see the current values, which are not there right now because the sun is not here. And this is the house total consumed power. And this goes, as you can see here a little bit, in the summer, there's more periods of that way. I'm in minus. Minus means I put money, yeah, also money basically, but power watts to the public grid. I don't get money for that because of this small Balkonkraftwerk thing. So basically the energy company is giving it to my neighbor and taking money for it indirectly. Yeah, this is how much I produce per day, use per day. So that's all the things that you can get out of this data. And I have it also in Splunk and also in Grafana, but that was more because in Splunk because I'm more used to Splunk and wanted to do more things. So I combined, you don't see it here, but when the weather changes, you have an annotation, and then here you have the no, that one here. It's pretty interesting. I have one light sensor outside. That's the yeah, the blue line. That's the light level, let's say, over the day, and the other one is the combined PV production. So you see how it aligns with the light, which makes sense. But yeah, I wanted to visualize it just for fun and yeah, and because it was easy to set up. I also sent it to Grafana out of similar reason. They asked us in our department to, you know, deal with Grafana, get used to it, and then I just used the ready yeah, Grafana integration or destination in Cribl to also send it to Grafana. So I came to use this data as for doing POCs or to testing applications, platforms. Yeah, while it loads, let's go back if I missed something here, something important. No. So that's how I collect those things and send them to the various destinations in different formats from part to part. And this slide here is about that I mentioned earlier. So this is taken from the internet, but I have almost the same energy meter, and you can buy ready-made ESP 8266 that are combined with an infrared reader. And usually those energy meters have infrared interfaces. And then you have a weird script. Most part of it was given already, or you can see it on the internet. But for one use case that I'm explaining later, I needed a power consumption matrix without delay. And if I put it, or it goes also to Home Assistant and then to Cribl, but I wanted to have it directly. So I made some research in some nerdy communities and found that there's a command for this whatever Tasmota script where you can call URLs. It's not running always because I didn't find a way to use HTTPS, but it's running right now for demonstration. So this script is on this Tasmota interface, and that's connected to my energy meter. Looks like this. Yeah, when you call a small web interface of this thing, so this is actually a small web server running on the ESP, so you can see it, and you can also put it in an MQTT. This is how Home Assistant gets the data, but you can also use, I think you can see it here. Yeah, the script is putting the data every second or so to Cribl now also. Here you can see it. Yeah. Yeah, then this was basically about this whole use case, putting balcony power plant stuff data to Cribl and then to various system where I needed them or wanted to have them. And then this is what I mentioned in the Slack community to there's some small, or for the simple use case, pretty long blog post about how you set Slack notifications with Cribl. It's basically, if you know Cribl, all what you need is send it to a webhook. I think, yeah, it's a webhook destination. So when you open webhook, incoming webhooks on your Slack, you have a token and it used as a URL. And then all you have to do is have a field called text, and whatever is in this field that you send to this webhook will appear as a message in Slack. Yeah, like here, for example. There's some links you can do the customizations, like text bold, cursive, or I think you can even maybe change the picture. Yeah, but that's pretty helpful in some cases. I think I have also use cases where some use cases where I actually use it. So for what I showed earlier, the daily energy stats is going to my private Slack. So this is a total status of what I consumed so far, since I have this energy meter, how many PV I produce and how many watts I put back to the public grid. And yeah, so with the deltas between those, I can calculate how much I produced or used daily, etc. This is going to Slack, also to Google Sheets. This will be the next or over next slide. Yeah, then my son used to forget that he had books from the library or to give it back, and then I used Cribl REST API on their not so complicated HTML site to get the due dates of his books and then be notified when it's only 3 days left, or for example. Or COVID metrics, I think I mentioned it in my last talk here 2 or 3 years ago. For my city, I live in a county, but in my city, they didn't have the COVID metrics in history for our city, but they published it every day on the website of our city hall. So I grabbed them with a REST API and then put it to Slack. So I had the daily stats in my Slack. Yeah, or follow, I was following a battery for this kind of photovoltaic system in an Indiegogo, which is like Kickstart, and followed the progress of this Slack when they change or publish a new announcement, and I had it also in my Slack. Like if this then that, but more flexible and in your own private Cribl. Yeah, but it's documented here, and it's, like I said, not so complicated, but useful. If once you have a setup, you can just use the destination to send you whatever you need. Yeah, was a little bit more complicated. I thought about it or tried it even earlier 2 years ago, but the Google API for developers is my thing. I'm not a really developer, and I to work with the refresh tokens, etc. Was too much for a private tryout thing. But then I found this blog here about how you can send stuff to Google Sheets with curl, and then I thought that should be possible with Cribl also, with not so much hassling with tokens, etc. So the idea is he creates a Google form, so a questionnaire, just using text answers, and then you can look in the HTML of the site, and they have IDs, these fields, entry and some integer number. And then you can basically do fake replies to this questionnaire, and this is your data going to this form. And by default, it also creates a Google Sheet in the background with the daily or with all the replies that come in. So it looks like this. Should have maybe opened some of them before the call. Yeah, so this is just this is one form that I use. It has the fields that you saw earlier also in Slack. So how much this is being used for, how much I consumed daily, produced, and how much did I put back into the grid. And these fields have, if I would open here the developer thing in Chrome, have entity IDs, let's say, or numbers that you can refer to in your URL to post to this form. Yeah, I think you can see here how I put together I use it right now for in Humio you can do like in Splunk a safe search or report and put that response into a webhook, and that's the source for this one here. So it comes in, and then it's being parsed. It's a JSON, and parsed, and then one simple eval to yeah, this is the URL. So when you use a webhook destination, you can configure that URL in that webhook destination. But if you have an underscore URL field in the event that it's coming to that, it will be overwritten basically. So that's one handy thing to build together URLs that you call. So yeah, here you can see it. So these fields, for example, the Tag, which is the day. This is a number for this field, and you just put in the URL entry blah 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 equals 2, and then the field that you parsed from the event that was coming in earlier. Yeah, and then it looks like we had that. Yeah, I think I wanted to show you the outcoming Google Sheets. Because I have problem with Humio, it only stores to 7 days, so I can't store historical data of my consumptions. But I did a change recently, or it's already been 2 months, where before I aggregated the daily consumption traction in a Humio, but this didn't work always so good. Then I started to collect the totals, and then I did not yet calculate the difference between each of these timestamps to have the daily or monthly, weekly, etc. Yeah, so you have with Google Sheets, I think I've used Google Sheets since, I don't know when they started, but it's been a while, and I have old sheets that I still use or have, so I think it's a good long-term storage for these kind of metrics. And I can see how much I used, how much percent it was of the day of all my energy, how much of this was self-produce or take from the grid. And I could also put in how much I have to pay for 1 kilowatt, and then calculate how much I saved using the photovoltaic, etc. I'm not into it yet, but I started. But that's one, for me, more easy way to get data into Google Sheets without this API and tokens handling. The next thing is, yeah, I have Shelly plugs running like I showed. So it's a small plug that you put in a socket and then put whatever you need in that plug. And then you can first you can control it, so turn it on and off, and you get matrix about how much power is going in and out. The background of this here, I have a home assistant automation where the plug where my laptop is in is only being turned on when I produce more power than when I lead. Let's say when I need less power from the grid than I produce. So if I have an overlap, if I produce too much, let's say, then in that time the laptop is switched on and the battery is loaded, and then when clouds come in, or when it's when I use more energy because the washing machine started, then this plug will turn off. So that shifts a little bit of the energy that I use to times when I have sun. It's not too much. It's more a play around thing, but yeah, in the summer it helps me a little to use more of my self-produced energy. Yeah, long story, and this is a last chance thing. I wanted to have edit something outside of Home Assistant if the battery of my laptop is too low and Windows comes up with hey, turn your plug on, the battery is low. So when I have a small script in my VSL here that sends the battery status each, I don't know, 10 seconds or so, and if it's below or equals to 22, this Cribl pipeline and webhook combination will turn on this Shelly plug. So even if Home Assistant is down or something, or cannot communicate with the outside, then I have this as a last chance to turn on my laptop plug. So this is a way to, like I said, here interact with IoT things. And it works pretty stable. I only have the laptop in this Shelly plug because and my display, for example, is plugged in an normal socket. So you don't notice if it's loading or not. Doesn't disturb my daily work, let's say. And this was it's pretty bullshit. It doesn't make sense. I don't know how I came up with it, but some in this photovoltaic scene, they don't like to give out the energy that you self-produce to the energy companies because you don't get money for it. So they do things to produce it or store it in a battery or something. And I came up with in a boring time frame. So when this red line, let's try it like this. This red line here is the consumption of my house, and then it started to get below because you don't see it right here in this screenshot. My photovoltaic production was going up, so I was going in the situation where my energy would go to the public grid, and then I have a pipeline that can control the brightness of my room here. That's about 8 Philips Hue lamps. So if you combine them, it can be up to 70, 80 watts. And with the brightness of this lamp, you can control how much power the light of my room here uses. And so this pipeline tries to keep or stay on the zero production line. I don't know if it makes sense with this explanation, but you maybe I will open the pipeline so I can maybe explain it a little bit better.
Please tell me you do have a light shining on a disco ball, though.
Yeah, it was because sometimes it felt like that. So when when it tries to stay on the null line or zero line, the lights go on and off. You can't work with that. It's just it was for fun there. Before I had a little bit more complicated with different. So when the consumption is below -40 and 0, it would start to do something. But then I used Splunk to have somewhat of an formula that translate the brightness of these lamps to what's being consumed. And so I calculate the brightness metric, let's say, and on and off, which is always on. So I turn all these lamps on in this room and put into a certain brightness based on the gap between the 0 line and the actual state, that so the actual watts that are being consumed right now. Yeah, and then it's being sent to a webhook for a Philips Hue webhook, and this is in Philips Hue is just a group that you can talk to with an API call. So you can say this group, please, brightness 100, brightness 90. So, and then the change of the brightness changes the power consumption of my house. So the next event that comes in will have a different value, and then maybe the lights are going dark again or full power, because yeah, it reacts to itself and also to what's happening in my house. I don't know if my English is enough to explain what I try to do here. Yeah, and yeah, why not? But it might also to show that was maybe the background. We also have an IoT team that thinks about using Cribl. It maybe shows how that you can control IoT stuff with Cribl. Not that it makes sense in this case, but it works. And I use lights because as you can very granularly say I need 10 more watts or 60 more watts, depending on the brightness that you configure. Yeah, I think that's basically about it.
That was awesome.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
very cool. And Ben called it out, not using the banner feature within your Cribl. That not everybody knows about that, so it was pretty awesome to see there.
Which feature? Sorry, I didn't.
Having the banner at the top.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's because I can mix up customer and my Edge and my Cribl.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. No, that is a perfect good use case for that. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Anybody have any questions for Ralph here? You can unmute and ask or put it in the channel.
This is pretty cool stuff, Ralph. You guys have a battery setup too? How do you figure out, I mean, you're trying to put some power back into the grid, but you're limited as to how much?
No, I didn't limit. This with this light, this was just for fun, but I actually do have a little power station. I don't know if that's a word also in the US. So it's basically a battery for camping, etc., where you can put in 700 watt hours. So it's not so much. And I am experimenting with a setup where I have two very small modules loading this power station, and then I have a switch bot. I don't know if you know it, a small Bluetooth box that can just push a button. And then yeah, when the sun is down, I click the button, and then this energy in this battery is fed to my grid in the night with 50 watt hours, so below my minimum usage. Yeah,
Very
and
cool.
but I don't control that one with Cribl, so it was not part of this presentation.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And say, give me a sec, and I got just a few minutes of community updates. Let me take that back.
Yep.
And share. Can we see my nice goat screen here? Yep. All right, let me move my share bar out of the way. All right. And trying not to look too much. It's on another monitor on another side. So we've done some updates for community projects. Specifically, I've been working on Curious, which if you don't know what Curious is, it's our online platform, question answers that everybody's can join and contribute to. So you, the community, us as employees, or just anybody that's interested in doing things. On there, we have questions, we have answers, we've added user groups, and just recently, I believe it was Friday, I believe, we kicked off a knowledge base where Chris actually put up the first article on our knowledge base to help make sure you guys have everything that you need. But it really is the place to go and get questions and answers at any time. So, Slack is great, but sometimes finding the answers in Slack just aren't that easy. So having it up on our knowledge base and the questions and answers definitely helps everybody to be able to get the answers that they need. And it lets you start to connect with people, especially with the adding of the user groups, so you can start finding people in the local area with you to that we can get together with. I kind of joke that it's Stack Overflow, but with a Cribl focus. But we also have more features now that we have knowledge base and user groups. You can find it at community.cribl.io. To make it easy, we added all the categories for our products, and then talking about packs or talking about university, or if it just doesn't fit or it overlaps too many different items, you can put it in general discussion. And throughout the process, I've kind of gone through and found all the keywords that I could find that might make it a little easier for you to help find the answer if you have a question. So that's in the tag section, that is the most popular tag so far. So see webhook in there is one thing that Ralph was talking about. So we can definitely make sure everybody gets the answers that they're looking for. And I spoke about user groups. You're currently in the global user group. Awesome. Thank you. But we are starting to roll out some local user groups. We're looking for people that want to be the community champion and run the group, similar to how Rich typically does the global user group. He's not a Cribl employee. We're looking for the community to go ahead and run one for their area. But then in the meantime, we are doing some Cribl IRL, some Cribl in real life, where us as Cribl employees will run a user group like meeting, invite people from the community come speak, and allow us to connect and be able to share our knowledge with each other in person, in a room, usually over some good food, maybe over a few drinks, but allow us to actually, see and talk to each other. Within Curious, we are gamifying it a little bit. We have the different Curious levels. And you'll see the different levels here and points associated with them. We actually just took a lot of questions from Slack from this last year and populated them into Curious to help get us more data. And as you see, between that and just the questions throughout the lifespan of Curious, we've now got a few people in the level 2, and even with no shock, XPack being the first to hit level 3. So these 5 people will actually get a code for our redemption store to be able to order custom limited edition Cribl Community Swag. Which, speaking of the redemption store, you'll get your code. You can go onto the redemption store, enter your code, and this is the sample of the shirt that we ordered and the sticker. Black is great, but we want to stand out, so we got our Goat Squad shirts here with the fun goat and the Cribl community on the back, and a nice sticker for you to be able to laptop or car or bike or whatever you feel fit. And to help everybody get some more points and level up, the last week of October into the first week of November, we're going to go double points. So typically for posting a question, you get 1 point. Answering a question or commenting on a post, you get 1 point. Having your answer accepted typically is 3 points. If somebody gives you an upvote, you get a point, and getting an awesome gets 2 points. All of those are doubled. So if you answer a question and then your answer is accepted as the what it is to solve that problem, you could actually get 4 points for that. And if somebody upvotes it, it'd be 5 points. If they awesomed it, it'd be 6 points. So typically, so you could be up to 12 points for a single answer in the double point week. And that was my community update. Chris, did you have anything else?
I don't.
Awesome. I love when I can actually cover everything.
Is it that we should use Curious as the default or with more priority, or is there anything that differentiates what is put where or should be put where?
I like to use Curious just so if I have a question, like I just posted something the other night on using Cribl Edge in Docker and an error that I'm receiving while trying to run the Docker. It might be great for a couple people on Slack, but if more people are using Cribl Edge and if they run into that problem, they're going to be able to find it with Curious, because it's going to be able to be searched by all the search bots and be able to get into the AI so people can get answers. So I like Curious. There's still a use for Slack, but it helps the community more in Curious to be able to get those answers out there.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions on community? Well, we will be able to see and talk with everybody in the user-group-planning. If you have ideas or want to present, then we'll be able to get together, or you can send Rich or myself a note saying if you have a project similar to what Ralph did, which was just amazing. Especially I didn't know about the Humio 16 gig a day for free. So that was definitely a cool, and all the visualizations that look pretty awesome. I'll probably be playing with it in my lab now. So so if you have anything that you want to present, let me know, let Rich know, or if there's topics that you want to learn more about, check our sandboxes, and if they're not there, then let me know and we can find an engineer and we'll get everything going. Otherwise, see y'all.
So
Thank you. See
thanks,
you.
Ralph. That was great.
Thank you. Have a nice one.